Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. My name's A Wild Time. I'm joined by Jimmy. We are with the Battlefield World League, BWL, new league on the block, and we're going to be casting one of their international games, Lithuania versus France. Jimmy's the owner. Did you want to introduce the league a
Yes,
bit, explain what's going on, and explain what's happening with these teams?
100%. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Thank you, Wild, for the very nice introduction. Yes, a league that me and Ash started about like a month ago now, called the Battlefield World League. We're hoping to sort of create like a new, competent, well-organized, fun league for everyone to play and enjoy, which is the aim. And obviously, we have the best caster in competitive Battlefield on the team, a Wild Time, so that
Oh,
always
flattering me.
helps. Well, it's true at this stage. So like we're starting off on a strong foot. I think. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch the first two group games, but we are now able to cast this Group B match between France and Lithuania. Both very strong teams, and both teams which are hoping to progress in the top three of their group to the knockout stage for sure. So really expecting a close game here today. That is going to be fun to watch and cast.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have very similar backgrounds. I think we were looking at some of the
Mm.
lineups beforehand.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't whack them up on the screen for you just here. But most of these teams coming from like Law and other familiar teams that they're going to be almost be like an inter-clan scrim at this point,
Yeah.
which will make things pretty interesting.
Definitely. I mean, you see this a lot with the international teams. The players, feel comfortable speaking the same language, call out wise, and club wise, and I guess that translates well to the national team where you're all on the same page, and you can all work together with familiar faces. Is probably I think chemistry is probably one of the biggest factors in these international matches. So you see, you might think of like a team like Spain, played together with the same players for years, successful on BF1 internationally. Maybe they've got an edge over other teams, not just on their skill, but also their, familiarity with each other. And I think, I'm not sure which. I mean, Law's mainly Lithuanian, so I'm going to give the edge to them on chemistry. But of course, France is a very talented side as well, so very, very close to me.
Yeah, I mean, France has some amazing players on the block here. I mean, records like from Law is really good. Hardstyles and Nico, really strong players. I mean, Nico comes from all the way from Battlefield One.
Mhm.
So a lot of experience in the French side, but like you said, Lithuania have a lot of chemistry between
Yeah.
themselves, and that can make a huge difference if communication is on point. I think we're just waiting for one more of the French players to join in, and then we can get the game kicked off. First map is going to be Rotterdam, and we've got quite a decent map pool tonight. A lot of the base maps, obviously, we're missing Harass, but it should be good. We will have a little break kind of midway through, which is always nice. We're always having to burn Alsadan, um, and it'll make for a good game. I mean, Jimmy, explain to me a bit about Rotterdam. You've had a lot of chance to play this, experience what it's like for yourself. Yeah, just walk me through it and kind of like what we're going to generally see throughout this game.
Yeah, so Rotterdam's one of the core, three base maps that the game's had since Squad Conquest, was launched a while back now. So it's we're expecting players at this point to know their way around, Arras, Rotterdam, Hamada, more so than any other map. And I think for that reason, the tactics on Rotterdam can be very either simple and impossible to stop, or be very complex and hard to read as a player. So nowadays, I think the main sort of strategy is to favor the tram side if you are spawning on C flag, and if you're on A flag, you need to prevent anyone getting through the line. That is the number one priority: is to form a line on B to C and just prevent anyone getting through. The difficult part of Rotterdam to me is the just how wide the map is on that B street. It's easy to say form a line between Riverside and the top tram side where you can get really high up to the map where people don't even see you coming around the house street there. But as soon as you have a player go down on the head glitch on the Riverside, it really stretches you thin at times. And obviously you've got that sort of water flank for the C spawn. It's probably worth mentioning that I think I've already kind of touched upon it that A flag is heavily favoured by teams. So I believe it's going to be Lithuania, who I think are now kicking us off as we speak. So I think both teams are ready to fight out the first ever casted BWL Group B match. Great times.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely awesome to see these teams kicking off. Lithuania in the blue, France in the red. Both teams coming up very strong. France going quite heavy along the canal here, straight towards B, but getting cut off as they come through. So again,
Yeah, it's
very aggressive start from France.
Yeah, it's funny that I mentioned that teams usually favour tram side, and then the French team goes straight through on the river side. Ready S with a huge kill there, getting the guy flanking round in the river. I think initial kills are going down France's way, but of course Lithuania have that B cap to start off with.
Yeah, we're jumping on here with Nokas777, who's defending B. Unfortunately, he gets taken out by one shot with the Tommy gun. I mean, we all know what the Tommy gun is like in this game. Absolute beast of a gun. But it looks like Lithuania have the upper hand, considering the very aggressive start from France here.
Yeah, this is very interesting that trades, have gone through here, but I mean, France are just stacking B now. I think the last Lithuanian players need to focus on staying up and staying spawnable for their team. Obviously, the BWL has introduced class restrictions, so I think that's something to mention as we go ahead. You're not going to see, Tribe coming out with 8 Lewis guns anymore. You're going to see, mixed players between assault, medic, and support, and you've really got to figure out now as a team, the roles, which is probably the most interesting part of the class restriction. Which players are going to have the God gun, a Lewis gun at range in their hands, and which players are going to be responsible for getting those close, tight kills. For now, we see players like One Shot and Nico running the Tommy guns for the France. Kills going down on B like crazy, absolute fucking bloodbath. Apologies for my language. I have to keep it professional. But no, absolute bloodbath on B flag there. I think France managed to hold their line.
Yeah, and we see France did a really good job. One of the Lithuanian players managing to get a double kill before he's taken down. But again, France, like you say, holding that line. They pushed through. They beat out the players. And we're starting to see a lot of smoke being deployed on the field here. And praise the Battlefield gods that they gave us this player outline. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to see. Jumping on Nokas, who's on the ground, trying to get the kill. Gets beat off here by Ready S. And yeah, France just holding strong. And I think this is where the downfall of a lot of teams is. They end up getting pinned way too early in the game and don't know how to beat it out, we're going to try and see here Gombaz and Chapelunius. I'm butchering these names today. Trying to come around the left here, but the smokes and the cover from Royale and the rest of his team is just too strong, especially when you've got the SG-44 and the Sturmgewehr there as well. Just absolute beasts of guns coming into this.
Definitely credit to France there. So initially they get the bad spawn off the start. They managed to hold on. They managed to take B pretty quickly. They then rotate a lot of guys to River where the big push from Lithuania was coming in. They kill everyone there. Now I think the next big push probably you're going to see is from Lithuania, from the red building, maybe to left side now. But I think France have reacted really well to everything that they've thrown at them so far, and I don't see this changing anytime soon until Lithuania can get warmed up. It is first map, slow starts happen for any team, but
But we do have a cheeky push around Charlie here. 3 French players managed to swim down the canal, go around the back of Hardstyles and Ready, and now they're capping Charlie. And now we could be seeing for a classic pinch onto the Bravo flag, providing that the rest of the Lithuanian players can keep French on Bravo. But I don't think they could, and France have managed to cap Alpha. But Lithuania have managed to turn the tables just a little bit. They're 40 points behind, so you have to see what they can do. Reckles on his own trying to defend against 3 or 4 of these French guys pushing down that left lane that he's facing now. Again, he's just absolute beast, one after the other. Sees the other guy in the yellow tram.
this is the time where Lithuania have to get B flag, I think, in my opinion. Yes, you've got Reckles going 7-0. He finally goes down. That's a huge kill there. I think this is, I mean, rotation from one shot there was perfect. You know, as soon as they realized that the Lithuania flanked onto C, he flanks straight onto A, and they, you know, they're not defending it anymore. They just sort of assume it's safe and they lose it. But now you see Lithuania capping B, and I think this is the sort of huge gunfight mid-game where you can see, you know, which way is this game going to go? Are France going to keep their lead, or are Lithuania going to hold this for any length of time?
Yeah, 100%. We see one shot who's rotated background in speed, being very aggressive. Got the cover from his team. Nico doing a good shot. One shot gets that top stairs clear. And France are pretty much off of the B flag within just a matter of seconds. And it wasn't enough time to claw back the lead. It's now 89, 133 in favour for France, who are dominating this game by nearly 40 tickets now. And that's quite a huge difference when it comes to these sort of international teams, when you've got some of the best players around playing for their countries.
Definitely, as you say that, I would like to say both teams playing very smart. I think off the start, nothing's unexpected. You might see some, sometimes at the sort of team level where, weird stuff's going on. Right now, like Lithuania just spawning on A, their home spawn, trying to cap that back, is the play you would expect to make. Equally, France read that perfectly, and now you see a trip cap coming in because they defended A and they've got their own flag back on C, and they're just stacking it. This could be a disaster ticket-wise, not just the fact you lose the map, but the fact that you lose by such a heavy margin. This could be really bad for Lithuania.
Yeah, 100%. Lithuania just getting gunned down in the canal, and they've tried to opt to go for the half-track here to try and break out the spawn trap. And it's not going too well. We're having to do a bit of parking, and he gets a roadkill here. And Ready S not going to appreciate that. Volcane Snake not knowing on what's going behind him. Royale managed to dodge that one as Vissa keeps going, and it's a train that cannot be stopped. Eventually the track gets taken out, and both players get hit by Reckles with the there. Absolute nonsense happening in this game tonight as Lithuania starts struggling. 130 to 36, caught in the spawn trap. France doing a very good job lining up here, and Lithuania with no choice. I mean, you said teams favour this side of the map here, but it also is the easiest to get pinned into. You've only got this one single tiny bridge. Once you're in the water, you can't do much. At least if you were on the other side of the map, you did stand a bit of a chance to get out of that spawn trap here. And it's just counted down the seconds here for Lithuania, and there's not much they can really do. And I mean, looking at the game here and what we've seen now, what do you kind of expect for the rest of the maps, Jimmy?
I mean, it really takes some sort of mental fortitude to come back from a map like this. To be fair, if there is a map which is prone to spawn traps, you're probably looking at a map like Fiel, and you're probably looking at a map like this, where the both spawns are very heavily guarded, as we see France win by 130 tickets to 0. But it is first map, and it is something which they can come back to. Maybe in hindsight, Lithuania will realize that they probably could have made some adjustments, like during the game before the trip cap was set in, to give themselves a better chance. But like you say, more of a sort of circular, triangular sort of map. It reminds me of like a BF1 style map where you can feasibly go and cap any two flags at one time and hold them for a decent amount of time, instead of like a linear map like Rotterdam, as you rightly pointed out. I think now, I mean, it's also worth mentioning that I think I'm right in saying that Zeverinus has the edge in the tank against I believe Volcane Snake for France. So this is one of the few tank maps, so maybe that will come in handy to swing the favour of this match back in, as we say that, and then 3 go down on the side of Lithuania in favour of France.
Yeah,
but
one
they are
shot
capping the flag still.
Yeah, but this is the thing, they're capping the flag, but France managed to get in and around. Chap had no support there, and it allowed Nico to just jump on top of him and just ram that gun down his face here. We've got a bit of a punch up on the left here with Snake. We've got Nokas and friends pushing round. Snake gonna get the jump on the tank there. I mean, it wasn't looking at all. His teammate should have been calling that out, and Snake is just gonna be dominating that position here.
I have to say, I'm a little bit baffled with what is happening, because you don't usually see tanks fighting from around a corner like this.
Yeah,
both tanks are pretty weak. What the hell is happening?
I don't know.
Okay.
Snake manages to get the upper hand there, but that's something you rarely see on Hamada. The tanks actually fighting, and if they do fight, it's rarely ever that side of the map.
Yeah,
it really isn't. I mean,
not at that range anyway.
Yeah,
usually,
exactly.
it's from B to the repair station, not like round the corner, close range, peeking like an SMG player round the corner. But I mean, I guess the issue then was the players were all medics. I mean, you can call out as much as you want to as a medic, but if you can't damage the tank in any way, then I guess you made the right decision in trying to push to B. But also they had a repairman, so maybe it would be worth taking them out to give their tanker a chance. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was a bold move, Jimmy. Glad it paid off for them. And yeah, France have been extremely aggressive, extremely dominant. Lithuania tried to go round for that A flag, and it looks like we had 3 players from France ready to retake it. And we could be in for a very early game triple cap here. 154 to 130 in favour of France, and that is going to very, very quickly disappear. Snake missing the opportunity for a very crucial kill here, as we're starting to see LPP going in to get Bravo. But he's being very, very cautious, and France have it completely undefended right now. I think Ready S is moving in with one shot on Nico. They seem to be the pendulum between the Bravo and Charlie flags here.
I mean, I'm not sure what the issue is here, because we know that the Lithuanian players, the law players, are capable of reaching a semi-final of a major league mere weeks ago, and now they're getting, if I'm honest, absolutely buoyed off the map on a map which you shouldn't really get spawn trapped.
Exactly.
As in, there's ways to get around, but I mean, maybe I'm being too harsh there.
But
I was expecting
more of a fight. Yeah, no, I was about to say the exact same thing. I would expect triple caps to start happening at maybe the 50-60 ticket mark, not the 154 ticket mark here.
Yeah.
That's what, 6 to 10 tickets into the game. And we haven't even started here, but I think France have just got everything right in this game. The tank battle went their way, the infantry fights have gone their way. There's been very positive trading up. We're starting to see, like, Nico has just been getting double kills all game here. Anyone with a Tommy gun has just been getting really good positive trades, and Lithuania just can't get the kills. I'm trying to cycle through and see whether they can break through here, but it's not going their way. They're trying to get the revives, which is good. They're overloading one side of the spawn, which is also good. It's going to allow you to push out, especially on a map like this. But it's crucial now.
My lord.
Yeah, and it just broke completely, all thanks to 2 players
holding
one side.
Ready S is going 16-1 because no one else. There's no trades. Obviously, it's very hard to get 2 pieces and 3 pieces at the highest levels of competitive, any game. But you usually see trades coming in against one player. Usually you don't see one guy standing by himself, just spinning around on the spot with the Tommy gun, using every 50 round he's got to take almost every player on Lithuania out. But that's just what happened.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe miscommunication, maybe it was just too chaotic, it happens, but the trades are just not happening for Lithuania, and they really are happening very effectively for France.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think it just goes to show the level of class that France are fielding on the game today, considering, again, like you said, they're competing against players from teams who reach semi-final levels of leagues. And, I mean, talking about the other teams that have played already, we're starting to see teams like Spain and Italy also showing the exact same kind of performance against teams. Allies, Spain dominated 6-0. Lithuania again got beat by Italy 6-0 for the exact same sort of scoreline here.
I'm expecting a win from France. However, by which margin that happens is up for debate, in my opinion. So we see Lithuania with the, I believe, A spawn. So, I mean, on this map, honestly, yeah, you probably prefer the C. Oh no, there we go. Lithuania, in my opinion, do have the favourable spawn here on C flag, because on their side of the on France's side of the cathedral, you can really sort of draw a line on the outside of that wall there. And you can basically just play from inside out on that line there, which I think is much easier than trying to, cap C, Lithuania's home flag if you're France. So, I'm really just hoping, actually, fingers crossed, that Lithuania come out gunning. And yeah, as you say, I mean, they're playing with the Randy, so fair play for doing that. But I mean, he's left now. As soon as we start, he then leaves. So we've had we had Fiel and Alcin Dan to burn, and then he leaves. So I think their last player's joining, but they
That's
are
still
very
there.
late onto the B. France are already there.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, getting onto that B flag as quick as possible is very key in the very early stage of these games here. Reckles picks up Gombaz here as he tries to go down the stairs on the left-hand side. Gets absolutely nailed. And France holding a very dominant lead with Nico. And Reiku doing an awesome job there. Chaplunas with the dynamite just nailing
Suicide.
people. I think he got himself with that one as well.
I mean, Lithuania coming through with a few kills here. Everyone is Chapelonis and VC all coming through with a few kills. I think this is really when you need to see Lithuania show up and put up a fight here. If it's not happening now, it's probably never going to happen during this game. As I say, that Snake comes through with a 3-piece. Good job from him with the SDG, absolute beast of a gun. Very good gun all round. But I mean they're already on C. So the trades were coming through on B or at least in the library side for Lithuania there. But Hardstyles with a very smart flank just realizes essentially that Lithuania have stacked B. And I think they're going to slowly tick it over, but again, in Battlefield 5, all you need is a 2-cap. You don't need to go for the trip cap. All you need is those 2 flags to keep draining the tickets and not lose any yourself apart from deaths. So, honestly, France are in a good position here. I think Lithuania really need to... I think, yeah, huge spawns here from Freakin' and Chapelonis. They need to get this kill here. They need to kill Hardstyles. Right now, he's by himself. He gets 2. One more on Batonis. He's the last guy. He really needs this kill. I think Hardstyles is going to stay alive, actually. But
Yeah.
this is crucial.
Yeah, like you said, it's very crucial right now. Hardstyles is just going to play the long game, wait these guys out, be a pain in the backside, be a thorn in Lithuania's boot. And I think he's made a good decision. He's jumped off the flag. Now they don't know he's on it. He's burning it. He's waited. Flag's been capped. And I think what he's going to do now is now he's going to hop on and burn it. And Lithuania now have to make a decision. Do they turn around again? But they have left someone here. He's underneath. It is now a 2-on-1 for the cap. Hardstyles getting a very strong position. It's opting to move somewhere else. He needs to be careful how he runs because footsteps do echo a lot in Battlefield 5. Picks off one. He's now decapping that Charlie flag here. And this is going to be big for his team. Unless Lithuania can get players on the flag. Obviously, while it's contested, whatever colour it is what it is. But, I mean, they're just kind of holding off and staying off here.
So, oh my lord. I mean, okay, I want to be both positive and negative here. So the positive was Hardstyles, he's just gone down. He played that to perfection, absolute perfection. Didn't over-challenge. He sees 4 guys running off the flag. He goes back down, challenges again. These 2 players have had to stay there, which means that the rest of the team, the French team, have a 7v6 and the rest of the flag, the rest of the map. They win all their gunfights, and now they're really high pushed up onto C, and he's got reinforcements. Great from the French player there. On the flip side, the Lithuanian players, they had a gunfight on C. They knew that he was still alive, and yet there's 4 players running off of C flag. They don't pick up the kill. They know he's alive, or hasn't been communicated to them that he's alive, and it all sort of crumbles. And I think this is the reason why you see them fall into a trip cap. There seems to be a communication error or like a prioritization issue with what players they're trying to kill first, but. I don't know, something's going very right for France, very wrong for Lithuania right now.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I mean, most teams, what you start to notice, and we saw France do this very, very well on Hamada when it was played, they opt for that 5-3 split. If your home flag is getting capped, you send 3 players, ideally 2 of your best slayers, to go back to your home flag, to get those kills, to wipe it, and then you make sure you get those kills. You count the players, and that's a big thing here. Like, you're almost counting cards. You're counting the players on the field. Your squad captains or your team captain needs to be on top of the ball, remembering so he can allocate the players where he needs them to be. And Lithuania, like you said, just didn't do that. They didn't get the kill. The 4 players jumped off. They left 1 person behind. But for all that time, he he didn't jump on the flag cap there, so it was contested for a long while. I mean, they were lucky to get the kill, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
That could have gone very, very differently, but France managed to capitalise on that hugely. Hardstyles forcing people to respawn back at the home flag allowed France some breathing room in the centre to then wipe the 2 or 3 players to then get up to the position they're in now.
I totally agree. Like that distraction, he doesn't need to, I mean, he did get a bunch of kills, but he doesn't need to get, a 5-piece to win them the game. He just needs to distract, and them players on Lithuania spawning on the home flag results in the situation you have now, which is essentially just the same thing we saw on. So we talked about how Rotterdam's a map where if you do break that B line over either side, you can force a trip cap very quickly. I have barely ever seen a trip cap on Devastation. At least not on this side. Maybe you can see it on A spawn. I've only ever seen trip caps when you're trying to burn the round. Honestly, the reason why it's here is not just because France are slaying like crazy. It's definitely a few errors, which, I mean, France, give them credit, they've really made them pay. But there's also like a pacing issue. I can see, like, even in spawn, you can see some players are rushing ahead, trying to, everything they can go close quarters, get a 2-piece, move forward. Other players just haven't been able to do that. I mean, spawns have come through on B, but I mean, it's 150 to 5. I would, as a caster,
too little, too late.
To say,
Would
love to say that this is possible, but you can obviously on Battlefield 5 you can lose tickets on kills. So as soon as IPU, there we go. It's done. It's done. 150 again.
We're about to move into a very difficult map. A map that really, really relies on getting the trades and making sure you're getting them effectively. And France know how to do that. So I'm interested to see how Lithuania counter this, if they can at all. Smokes are going to be a big asset on this map. I mean, Jimmy playing for GB and for Tribe. This map, it just becomes a big smoke bomb, which is why to me it was a relief we had those player outlines. Like Bravo right now, we cannot see what's going on. Absolute lunacy happening. But Lithuania opening up very, very strong, managed to beat France off of the B flag. It's whether they can actually hold on to this. And Records coming up right behind these guys, like literally going through the smoke, jumping around and killing them one at a time. But again, like I say, we are seeing some good trades here from Lithuania as they still maintain some control of the game.
Definitely. I mean, Chapalunas just won a huge gunfight. I was about to say he should have been more aggressive and finished off the last French player on this low B side, but finally we see some life out of Lithuania. They are taking the early lead here. Just like to point out, if anyone noticed, someone smoked B and managed to hit the top of the flag spire perfectly. We had a smoked a flag atop there. I've never seen that before. Yeah, that was pretty impressive accuracy there. In keeping with the theme of accuracy, both teams have been slaying out pretty evenly, but Lithuania have been in the right place. France now make their move onto B. You see this parachute area is a key area. Nokas lying down gets killed by Radius. These are the massive gunfights that happen right now.
Yeah, 100%.
And you see Nika go down.
And Vixen goes down as well. Lithuania just doing really good, and I think what they've done here is they've slowed the pace of the game right down, and it's really allowed them to maintain that control. France rely on being able to control the game, and Lithuania took that away from the very beginning here, but unfortunately they weren't able to hold it. I think they should have pushed off of the Bravo flag and fought more towards the Alpha side of things. You never want to be fighting on the flag. You always want to be fighting off of it, preferably in the opponent's half of the map. But it just buys you some time to recover if you do lose an engagement. Get some people on the flag to stop that one player that managed to win the trade and get through. But as you can see here, France managed to beat that back straight away. They've regained the lead. It's 138 to 134 to France. And Lithuania now feeling the pressure on Charlie. And just imagine if they did this on the other side of the map here. They put the same pressure on France. They choked them out of that bottom, route by the truck, and they just narrowed them down to the lane, down by that big sort of, searchlight, and they would have been in for, I think, a much bigger gap between the two teams here.
No, I can't believe this. I was like, we started the match, and I was like, let's go, Lithuania, let's go. And then it just devolves into this. I mean, okay, credit to France. They are clearly the more talented medic team, and I guess on this map it's just absolute killer. So you know, the class limits in the BWL are 4-4-2-2 from assault to scout, and they're going 4 assault, 4 medic. They're maxing out those close range classes. You see on the side of Lithuania, they've got 2 support players, questionable in my opinion, especially when you're trying to push out from a spawn. I think it comes down in competitive to those very small decisions. You wouldn't really believe it does, but you get punished for every decision you make. And those decisions of I'm gonna even I wouldn't spawn with a Lewis gun at this point, and that comes from me. Like I play with a Lewis gun, I sleep with the Lewis gun in my bed. Yeah, it's my child. I literally spawned it. It's just you can't afford to have that gun in this stage of the match where you're trip capped. It feels like people are playing for kills, if I'm brutally honest, if you are using that sort of gun at this stage, because it's not contributing to getting out of their spawn. Even if you pick up a long-range kill, chances are these very talented French medics are going to, revive, smoke their teammates and get them straight back in the action. So we do see Patonis. No, he gets killed down this far right side. That sucks. I mean, this doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just an absolute.
I mean, a little while ago, Lithuania had a little breakthrough. Grom and one of his teammates managed to get through onto the Bravo flag, but the response from France was absolutely perfect. They automatically sent a small group of 3, and this was that 3-5 split I was talking about.
Yeah.
Straight back to regain that B flag, and I think Lithuania played it a bit wrong here. They should have had one player waiting outside the Bravo flag. The other second player should have ran to France's home, and then once they were set and ready, you literally jump on those flags. No one spawns at the Charlie flag or home spawn anymore. You spawn on your 2 players, and then you just push France from the rear and you wipe them, and then you can get a quick easy triple cap, and that allows you to maintain and get back into the game. And unfortunately they made the mistake, they jumped on B. France automatically knew what was going on and was able to react. So it's a learning point here for Lithuania. I'm hoping to see some good things. They made some really, really good opening moves. And I'm excited to see how they progress throughout the rest of the tournament and what they can show us.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as you said, they started off the round so positively, pushing on to B, winning a few key gunfights, holding on to B flag for a while. They're sort of teetering C right now. I think it's still going to be in the hands of the French, but I'm not sure whether... Honestly, they could have just run into 2 very strong teams. They played, I think Spain. Did they? Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that. No.
Italy.
No, they didn't. Italy. That's it. Italy. Sorry. And they were very strong against Lithuania as well. Maybe they just ran into 2 very heavy-hitting teams, and that's just unfortunate for them. As we do see France take 135-0 ticket lead in Narvik, which is our 4th map. So 2 more maps.
We're just going to see how the 2 teams compete, what they can do, and I'm keen to also see how France progress through this map and how they maintain their control, because there's one clear tactic that works, and then there are some that really surprise me. France in the red, Lithuania in the blue. Game's a go, and let's see what happens.
I think usually if you are trying to catch a team out on this map, you're going to try and go from like an AC hold, and you're going to try and take control of this high lane here. I think that's exactly what Lithuania are doing. If they don't think they can win those close gunfights on B, if I was Lithuania, I would avoid B like the plague. You don't want to get any closer than you need to against one-shot Nico, Ready S, these top SMG players. I would not go any over there. Then again, I know nothing. I mean, they are currently capping B at this point, but I would definitely favour the C push, and they did go there, and I think there's going to be a 1v1 going down here on the top lane, and Reiko wins the gunfight. It does get traded out, but essentially that push has been quelled onto C. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, this is kind of what I expected if they weren't able to win those top lane gunfights, is a B and C hold for France. How long they take until the trip cap is anyone's guess, but I feel like it might be looming. Like you said, slaying is extremely important, and I feel like the tactics on this map can challenge players more than any other map. Like, honestly, the amount of people who get confused on this map, because it's a very complicated map, actually, especially with roofs not being a thing anymore, that, you know, the ways you can get around the map are limited now. It's actually very hard to figure out and what to do in certain situations with the amount of buildings there are, hiding spots, camping spots. It's very difficult. You know, if you make those mistakes, it can go very badly wrong, but I'm very pleased to see Lithuania on C flag in a 2v1 situation.
Yeah, no, 100%, and it's all come from keep pressuring that top C lane. They're pulling 3 to 4 guys from France out of the main part of the map here, and it's causing some issues. They're applying some slight pressure to Bravo. They're not committing too much, but the moment they stop this pressure, we've noticed that this awesome slaying team of Reckles, Nico, and Reddy start pushing up. Nico goes down. I think Reddy is going to be in a bit of bother as he goes for the revive, but manages to get the kill. Gets the kill on Nokas here. And Botnus is having to fall back. One shot sneaking round on A. We're going to see how he holds this one on his own. It's a 1v2 in the building. Watching the stairs with the Tommy gun. He does have what it takes. Gets one kill very cheekily from underneath. And immediately jumps down to pressure the bottom before the revive goes. Narrowly missed the dynamite. That was very good. Situational awareness there from them. And now France is starting to stack the alpha flag here. But they have lost Charlie, though. It's cost them.
Just the pure slaying power. Like, I'm actually blown away by how, like, France keep getting on each map, like, basically 7, 8 dead. Like, at least once a map. It's pretty insane, honestly. It's really hard to do. Like, they're making it look easy, but you need every player to win each individual gunfight and then to all win the team gunfights. I mean, talking Snake with a hatchet there, top C. You know, there was a great initial flank by IPO, I believe it was, onto C to, you know, alleviate some of the pressure off A and B. And I think Lithuania are going to go for the B push. But again, you can't cap a flag if you don't get any kills. Sometimes in these games, it really just comes down to, as much as we talk about tactics, chemistry, all these kind of things, if you're a player which can get a 2-piece and 3-piece every single life, then it's going to be easy for everyone. You know, it makes the game very easy. And we see another sort of ship cap come through. I think Lithuania are going to push to C now. But honestly, it's not looking great. It's still fairly close, though. It's not out of reach like we've seen in other maps.
They can push it onto Charlie and they can grab their home flag here. And France did a very good job of pulling away from that. And I think the plan is to hold that high ground, hold the mid ground here where we see Royale. Make Lithuania feel comfortable pushing onto the flag. The moment we start to see 3 or 4 people on Charlie, they then push in, they then pincer them in the building, where they force them into those very tight slaying gunfights, and that's where France thrive, and that's what they did here with Snake and Rauku managing to push in. Hardstyles gets the revive, and now Lithuania immediately pushed off of this Charlie flag here. And France just set up for the long slays on Alpha, really.
It feels like, having watched this now for 5 maps, it feels like Lithuania are always in transit between flags, and France are always like on the key spots. You know, you've got, you know, a while ago Snake was top C, you know, watching from those rocks, very powerful power position. In contrast, Lithuania now outside this C building, just off the flag, unable to move, pinned down by these long-range slayers like Dodge and Reiko on C. They're not moving. They're just on a head glitch, lying down, chilling. They know they're all here. It doesn't matter. You know, what does it matter if you've got 4 guys in the next building to the flag? It doesn't matter because you can just, you know, keep them there. And it's just this transit versus, you know, key position dynamic, which just never seems to change between maps, honestly.
Yeah, no, 100% here, and France do one thing really well, other than just the raw killing potential. They do the 3 stages of capturing a flag, and it was a thing back in Battlefield 4 with pro players, and it's been a thing ever since. It's the setup, it's the actual push, and then it's the control. And you see them doing that very well. They pull off the flag, they wait till 2 or 3 players are there. That's the setup. They then push on, they get the trades, they take the flag, and that's your push. And then with the control, you need to control the flag after. There's no point in you capturing a flag and then leaving it completely undefended.
Yeah.
And that's what France have done very well. And you get the control by pushing off of the flag into your opponent's half of the map. And then you control the flag and you're fighting for the ground in between. You're not fighting for the flag, and it takes a huge pressure off you and your team. And I think it's really important that that happens.
Yeah, I totally agree. As you said, very, very well pointed out. That, you know, those flag stages are going pretty much all three of them going extremely well for France, and Lithuania I think are struggling with the first one and the third one. As in, they're not. You know, they're kind of funneling one by one at times. You know, they're not smoking as a group. They're not going 4 guys at once. It feels like there's a lot of like singular pushes, which results in an easy kill for multiple French players. And then once they do cap a flag, it seems like they lose it very quickly afterwards. They don't control it for a while, which is unfortunate to see. As you see, France take Marita 147-0, and we move on to the last map, which will be Mercury.
In this sort of situation where you're overly confident, you know what you're doing, you know how to play it, and you play against teams which you do just walk over, and I mean, I hate saying it, but it's exactly what we're seeing here. It kind of gives you that false illusion of how good you really are when it comes to playing against the best teams around and teams of a similar skill level. But let's see what Lithuania can do. We've got France in the blue, Lithuania in the red. I think both teams are going to be very cautious on here. Again, we do have the tank up on Mercury. We can't forget about that. I think Lithuania do get the better position for the tank, if I'm honest. Sitting on that hill, you've got such a good sight line into Bravo. It's almost, you're silly if you don't use it. But both teams, I don't think, have deployed with a tank. They're going infantry only.
Sorry, I was about to intervene and say the tank is banned on Mercury for the reasons it's international. So yeah, you're probably thinking, what on earth are these teams doing? Yeah, no, it's all good. Gunfight going down. Lithuania taking B early on. We saw this on Narvik where they got a few kills early. It's how long you can sustain that for, and I think honestly on B, to me, where the house where Ready S and Nico are right now is the actual power position house on that flag. If you can control that house, you can control this entire side of this flag and have elevation over the flag, and that is super important for spawns and lines of sight onto B flag, especially killing people off ammo box and on the main tree area. And I think you saw that Nico and Ready S straight away leaked from that house to B, cap B, and now they're pushing up, and Lithuania have this back B spawn you can get in this back house. They've got a 4v2 right now. They need to win this gunfight.
Yeah, no, 100%. But the pressure is on. Hardstyles and company are just doing an enormous job of pinning these guys in. Hardstyle gets the flank. Unfortunately, freaking LT gets the trade. And Lithuania aren't dead just yet. But France are getting the revives when they can do. Reckless with the two-piece here. One more Lithuanian player left. He's looping around the back. Raikou pinches him between Snake, and Snake finishes up the kill. And now it's the setup on B, just to face that Charlie flag, get the line going. And they did a good job at, like you said, shutting down that building around the back of Bravo, because that, like I said, is really, really important. And I think players like yourself with the Lewis gun just absolutely love that balcony. You can see straight into Bravo. You can see the push from Charlie, and you can give the support to your team. Without that, it becomes a lot harder for your team to feel secure and push around. But France ignoring the beach spawn here. Obviously, when Charlie gets pressured, players get a nice spawn along the beach. They're coming round. We're starting to see Vulcan no go for Bravo. And we're starting to see Nuka setting up for Alpha. So France are going to be hit with a double whammy of flags being captured for them. And it's going to force the whole team to start having to pull back here. See, we're seeing 2-3 players on the flag. Nico, Ready S having to fall back. And leaving just one shot on Hardstyles to pressure Charlie. And this is what I was on about before. Instead of just allowing them to send 3 players now, they have to send the whole team back. And it allows you to recover, allows you to get some breath, and now push in and compete for this game. And look at this. We've got 3 players had to go all the way back to Alpha. 4 players now are committed to this Alpha flag, leaving, 3-4 other players on Charlie and Bravo. So, I mean, now's a chance to push Bravo. This is where you have to push hard. You have to push hard before your boys on Alpha end up dying here and giving France the time to set up. But honestly, good props to Lithuania there. that was a move that I didn't expect them to put up. I didn't expect them to put that fight up, and it was absolutely awesome to see them do that. It really was.
While you were speaking and making a really good points, I was hovering over C flag, and in the same way that a French player stayed alive on Devastation on C flag really well, One Shot does the exact same thing on C. So Lithuania are going to keep that flag, but at one point he was around the pillar with Zevrunas. For some reason, 4 Lithuanian players just carried on, ignored him. Zevrunas lost the gunfight, and the French player is now on C, which means that Lithuania now have to spawn on C, and are now again being pinched back with this French line. The seems impossible to breach right now. And again, they're going to be trapped on their C flag. It's really small situational stuff like that, which is really frustrating to watch happen, because you've got to call out that there's a French player here. They were so close. They could have exchanged cough. They could have given each other the flu. They were that close to each other. I mean, you've really got to call that out and sort that player out.
But the thing is, I think France are making the same mistake here. They've left no one watching the beach side. And if the Lithuania knew we got Nukas and 2 other players here, not on the beach side, France could get punished again very, very hard. And I think Lithuania need to just keep hammering that beach flank until it gets a point where France have to commit a player to watching the seaside and the boats and not watching the players on the field. And it just relieves a lot of pressure. But to be fair, Lithuania are doing very good. They're getting some good trades here. They're forcing France back to the B flag just outside. So they are getting the kills, and we're seeing a lot more red on the scoreboard, which is nice.
Yeah, VC there mopping up the kills on the plane. Those kills are crucial. I mean, the French medics are very good at doing their job here. But I mean, you mentioned it earlier. This is the perfect map for your players that favor those long range gunfights. And you know how we saw 2 supports on Narvik when they didn't fit the map. In my opinion, this fits the map perfectly, and I think that's the reason why you see this being a bit closer. Lithuania are actually capping B right now. I mean, it really suits their play style in terms of their player count. France, I think, are still too strong in terms of slaying, but they're definitely putting up a fight here on Mercury.
No, 100%, and this is definitely one of their better games. We haven't seen them yet manage to fight off a triple cap like they have, and I think it's going to cause France some issues. Like, they're in a position they're not used to. At least not from the past sort of 4 or 5 rounds that we've seen so far. This is completely new to them. They haven't got a triple cap. They're down to 137. I think we're going to see the best round Lithuania have on this map, and I think a lot of it comes down to forcing France to turn around. France have left the flank open yet again. I mean, I don't know why Lithuania aren't forcing that a lot more. Like they have. Why don't they just keep pushing it? Just keep hammering that flank until France learn their lesson and have to commit. And they're not doing that. And I think that's where they could improve a lot on. If something worked the first time, use it and abuse it until it doesn't work again.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, you saw that left flank being open for a while. I think sometimes, honestly, again, a bit boring to say, but just the French ability right now with this team just to get a 2-piece whenever you need it, or a revive, to stop the ticket leak whenever you need another player alive is just. Also the patience. I see a lot of French players holding onto their revives for until they've run out of time, because they know eventually a medic's going to stroll upon them and they're going to get a revive. It's just that sort of team play and slaying ability combo, which is just too much for Lithuania right now. Again, we've complimented this French team a lot, and we've tried to give some constructive criticism to the Lithuanian team, but unfortunately, although this has been the closest map so far, it does look like a trip cap is setting in the latter stages of this game on Mercury here.
Yeah, I mean, Lithuania did a good job. It is going to be one of the better rounds they've had so far. It's going to mirror, I think Rotterdam was the best map that they've had, only giving France 130 tickets left on the board. But, I mean, taking back to one of the key things that we noticed, that setup, that push, that control, France have done it really well in this game, and it's proved to be really useful. They lost that fight down the mid between Charlie and Bravo. It allowed them to fall back onto that Bravo flag, fight on the flag, push them off, and in that push, setting up the line is your setup for the next push on the next flag here. and we're going to start to see Lithuania unfortunately losing that one 135-0. And I think that's it for the night. I mean, really good game from both teams here. Doing absolutely outstanding job. And I don't think either side could have done anything differently at the level that they're at now. Lithuania have a lot to take away from this game. They've got a lot to learn. They're not stupid. They've got some awesome players. And I am really looking forward to seeing how they progress throughout the rest of this tournament here. I mean, what are your thoughts, Jimmy?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, it's regrettable that it was such a lopsided game, but both teams really fought really hard, and it's definitely, especially France. I'm looking forward to seeing them how they perform in the rest of the tournament. You know, you could take this both ways. They could use this to build momentum, or perhaps they could, in some sort of universe, become overconfident, maybe underperform against another top team. But hopefully we don't see that, and hopefully both teams can take positives out of this game and move on swiftly.